So, what up, y'all? And I guess we're getting ready to start. And 5, 4, 3, 2. See what happens when you're on a low budget? You got to do everything yourself. 1. We have to change together. But what's up, y'all? So, hey, I'm Jamie. This is my friend Nakia. Nakia is a filmmaker, a director. You've been doing film for how many years?
Man, it's films. It hasn't been as long as it seems, but just with the camera.
Get your microphone closer to you, buddy.
I'm sorry, but with the
It articulates.
with a camera. There we go. See, I operate a camera. I don't operate microphones. That's J. James' job. But as far as filmmaking, it was funny. It's not how people think. A lot of people think I've been just filming, making movies for years. But I was just playing around with a camera. I was still working full time. I might have made one movie a year or one project like every 2 years when I first started off, and it was just for fun. But that was probably like 12 years ago. And as far as turning it into a business, it's only been maybe 4, 5 years when I started making feature films, and I just knew so much from just playing around. It just really started to roll. And I was like, I might as well, I just decided I'm going to do this forever, So.
Yeah, so there's local filmmaking and there's people who actually have distribution. So you've actually been in Netflix. You've been on...
Well, not Netflix, Hulu.
Okay.
Not Netflix. A lot of people say Netflix. I don't know why, but yeah, not Netflix, but Hulu.
Well, it's like you can have a Coke, but it's not necessarily a Coke. It might be a Pepsi, Mountain Dew. I mean, it's like the catch-all. They were one of the OGs. So that's why Netflix is Netflix and Hulu's Netflix. But so you've done documentaries and you've also had stuff in Walmart and everything else, right?
Yep. Definitely in Walmart. I had it was 2 or 3 films in Walmart. The thing about Walmart, though, they are getting away from urban films and all of that, the transition. And one funny thing about it is, even with filmmaking, and it's funny that you say Walmart, because there's this whole process that's the evolution of filmmaking that you have to catch up with when you get into distribution, because it's constantly changing. So before I got into filmmaking, Walmart would give distributors a huge amount of money to take a film, and they would put it out everywhere. Like, they would put a bunch of copies. And because of that, a distributor can give a filmmaker a big chunk of money. And, and Walmart would give them enough money. They would buy it right out, 30,000 copies. Target would get a bunch of copies. But once Amazon came around with Prime and pay per play, they cut that out, because they were like, why I'm going to buy 40,000 copies from you when people can go online and just buy one and just wait, So what they did was change their whole process, and it started to become, well, we're going to buy 10,000 from you, but instead of just buying them outright like we used to, we're going to leave them on the shelf. As they sell, we'll cut you a check for each one. So that changed everything, and it rolls downhill to the filmmaker. So the filmmaker's check started getting less, and some people don't understand that whole process. And it's important to understand that, because that's how the whole industry is changing and moving, and you have to foresee things. So people that was used to spending $200,000, $150,000 in a movie 10, 15 years ago, they have to make an adjustment to cut that down real low, because the money doesn't come as fast anymore because of that. And now you got to market your movies. Like, you got to have a marketing strategy. You got to understand if your film is marketable and what makes it marketable. You just can't make a great movie, give it to a distributor, and Walmart just buys it from them. It just doesn't work like that anymore. So I think it's very important to understand that whole process, because everything rolls downhill. So what Walmart used to worry about, now the distributor has to worry about. Now the filmmaker has to worry about. The big checks that the distributors used to pay to go to, Walmart used to pay to get the film from the distributor. Now that check has gotten cut. So now the filmmaker's check has gotten cut. And so I really think it's important to understand that whole process. If not, you'll be doing it the old way 15 years ago, spending $150,000 on a movie that's not marketable, and you can't make no money off of it. But I don't know. That just came out from the whole Walmart thing.
No, that's fine, man. I told you, this show is all about rabbit holes, and I love them. But anyways, so you obviously have a passion for this. Do you remember the first movie that you ever shot?
Yes, I do.
So what was it, and what did you learn from it?
It never got finished. I shot it by accident, which is weird.
Wait, how do you shoot and like point a camera, set up lighting, and do that by accident? That's premeditated. That won't hold up in court.
Yeah. A friend of mine, and excuse me, I'm trying to get
Your feed working? You need me to send you the link?
no, just to tag, to share people and all that stuff is just real weird on here for a second, but that's all good. I had no idea I was going to be a filmmaker at all. Back then I was smoking weed. Me and my homeboy, I had what was that? Original Impala.
Okay.
Like everything was original. Nothing done to it, just pure original 83 Impala. And we were just riding around and I found an old camcorder my dad had. And I'm not even sure how it started. We just started filming. Then I said, I'm going to get you getting out the car. He gets out the car. Then we go to a friend's house. Then we got them. I just set the camera down. They just talked like improv. Then we just did the whole thing. Then by the end of the day, we had like 1 or 2 tapes, and it was just full of footage. Then we just left it there and left. And just never did nothing with it. I still have the camera. I probably need to take the tape out and look at it. That was the first project I really worked on, and we just, all right, we're going to do this like a movie. All right, now you go here, and this happens, and this happens, and I didn't know what I was doing, but we just kind of fell into it that day, and I still have the footage, just never looked at it.
You never uploaded it to the computer?
Never did nothing with it. It'd be interesting to look at.
I think you should do it.
Yeah.
Do it as like your original reel.
Yeah, and I actually had hair. I was half of the size I am.
Okay.
But I was probably half as smart as I am now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting to look at just to see, like, because once I see it, I will know who that guy is. That's the weird thing about it. So I'm not too interested in looking at it.
I get you. Well, we all have a past and we all come from different stuff. So when I came back from boot camp, I was looking at old pictures of myself before I lost all the weight. And I said, hey, Mom, who's that fat guy holding my little sister? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's me.
Wow.
And I really hadn't looked at any of my pictures in almost a year because when I went to boot camp, lost all the weight, MCT, and then went through some of the first part of my electronics school, then I came back. But yeah, it was definitely a trip. If you guys see me ever looking over sideways, I'm on a 40-second delay, so I just trying to make sure I have on the right camera. I'm a wee bit slow in the head. I apologize. We do these things early in the morning so I can make money in the rest of the day. So we got Trisha's in the room. Trisha actually owns Coastal Select Properties. So she's getting ready to start a project with Lily Nicole and a couple of the other individuals. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do like a 5-part series on some stuff. I'll be probably off the camera on that one. I'll just be running text so the show looks a lot more professional.
Gotcha.
Because when I'm on the show, it's a lot more funny, but not as professional.
I got you.
I'm not right in the head. I'm a little left behind on the short bus. But so, hey, have you ever done any documentaries talking about racism, colorism, or anything of that nature?
Yes and no.
Do you want to? Because I'm down.
Yes and no. When it gets into that, I'm very cautious of making content about that. I want to make sure, how can I say this? The end result, I have to leave the opportunity for racism to end, or to stop. I don't want to make a documentary about racism and the stuff that is going on. And when people finish looking at it, I don't want black people to hate white people or white people to feel guilty or not. Like, you know what I mean? Like that defeats the whole purpose. You can go anywhere and find information in history. If it's something unique about history, then that's a little different. But I think as a responsibility, it goes 2 ways, with accountability. So it's just not just me just telling stories about, how bad slavery was. And, at the end, however I put it together, I have to feel that anybody that watches this, I gave them a clear, vulnerable opportunity to not be racist or be less racist or whatever. I'm very picky about that. I can't stand movies that I see about history, about slavery and stuff. When I finish looking at it, I'm like, man, do I feel some type of way about white people? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not sure if I want to do that.
I got an idea if you're down.
Okay.
Okay, so picture this. Let's call it 2040. All right,
2040.
2040.
Okay.
Set 20 years in the future. It's from the perspective of our grandkids, and talking about how their grandparents were trying to make these changes to finally abolish racism. And now they're in a society almost like Star Trek, where there's money's not important anymore. All the racism is finally ended, and the grandparents trying to tell the kid what they had to go through, and what their grandkids parents had to go through, and it kind of like moving forward to show that this is finally ends.
That sounds like a big budget.
Not really. I mean, you know, you're king of the low budget stuff. We put ourselves in a living room environment. We've got the grandpa. We've got the couple of kids. You could do it basically like the first part of The Princess Bride. So basically, the kid was homesick. He's sitting having story time with his grandpa, and then you could just do little scenarios here and there because they can all be firsthand perspective storytelling.
Okay,
You don't even have to play it out.
And I like the whole concept and what you're trying to do. My thing is, I'm a little lost on the first half. So before people purchase the movie, like what title can we give it that will give people the understanding of the movie or one story in the movie, and also make them want to buy it? And I don't understand how the trailer would be to make that marketable. Like,
We Came From This is the name of the story.
all right, so we came from this. Like, is that will that draw income on its own? You know, so when we say we, because if we're talking about racism and stuff, like the phrase "we," will that draw income from just being online and search engines? We came from, like, will those words draw income with people that are typing up, people that want to see this movie? Are they typing up anything that will draw them into it from that name?
Okay.
For example,
How about Hate No More?
hate is a keyword in searches and things, so that could work.
You know, I'm fascinated by how your brain works, right? I'm enjoying this.
But I don't know. I feel like it has to be a little bit deeper in who is the audience, because things like racism, like a guy told me this about money. People that have money problems, they don't want to go to classes about your finances, even though it's for them. Mm-hmm. So we have to be, intentional about who our audience is and how we target these people, because it's about racism and helping people and help ending racism or bringing clarity. But the people that need that don't want to see it. People that are racist don't want to hear about that. So with titles and things, it's sad, but you almost have to be one-sided. You know what I mean? You almost have to be like pro-black or white supremacy, but you have to find a way to do it that touches on people's heart, and maybe just plant a seed to change their heart if you're really about change, you know? But when you apply that to the business, you have to be tricky about it, because really, if you want to make money, make a movie straight about white supremacy. You want to make money, make a movie straight about black power, and just be straight biased for that or biased for the other. But because I know where your heart is at and you're really about change, you have to lead them in that direction, but still
Start off from a point.
Yeah. Where you open the door, we're gonna talk about white supremacy, but there is, you know what I mean? Like, we should, maybe it's better if. So I feel where you're going with that, but
All right, here's a strong one.
Go ahead.
My dad's a racist.
Boom. That
And then you start off with the visual is you have the interracial couple, and then you have the dad in the shadows and big overlooking the relationship.
I like the title. I'm not feeling that poster, because I feel like that poster is telling it's like you're against it.
Okay.
Honestly, I probably wouldn't even put a face on that poster.
Okay.
It would just be a title and maybe something like a flag, like the American flag, because when you put races and people on it, excuse me.
People identify.
Yeah, so if you put a mixed couple on there, then it's like, you're for mixed couples, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Then, racist people, they're not
I
going
get
to be
it.
for it. If you put a white family, it's kind of like you for,
Yeah.
so I probably wouldn't put anybody on there.
Okay.
Just put the title and a flag or just symbols that represent what it is. But you have to go for that audience. So you have to decide if it's going to be all white people in this movie,
Sure.
all black people, all Latino, or is the lead cast going to be black and the rest of the people, you really have to nail that joker. But I like that.
So, and the thing I've always learned from you is you have to tell your story. You can't tell someone else's, because if you've never lived that scenario, you're never going to understand. Which is the whole big topic of the show, is you have to take the time to learn other people's points of view, and you cannot do that from a static point of view. You have to be able to look on the left, you look on the right, and try to see all the sides of the coin, not just the front.
Yes. Even in business, you got to do that. You know, one of people's biggest problem with working with distributors is they don't understand the distributor's point of view and how his business operates. That's why so many people spend too much money into a movie, because they don't understand that a distributor, they have a cap. Like, some companies only make $100,000 a year distributing movies, and there's some that make millions of dollars. And with that, they have a limit that they have to put on movies, and they have an obligation to companies that I call consumer distributors, like Walmart and places like that they have to give them a certain amount of content, And so they have to make a tough decision. Will this sell to our market? But at the same time, I need to try to find enough of this stuff to fill my obligation to these people that got this contract. So sometimes you have to be, as a filmmaker, you need to understand that, so you can get the concept of, I have to create a high production value product that's marketable for a low cost.
Yeah.
Because it might mess around and be something that is not marketable to their audience, but because they got to fill this void and it has a high production value, they'll still take it, but they won't give me a lot of money up front because they don't think it's marketable.
Sure.
But if you spend it for pennies, you what the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you spend 10,000, they're still going to give you 30. It's like so what,
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's all about return on investment. I mean, you've got to look at. There's okay to do love projects if you're smart about it. So do not invest a lot of money or time into a love project. So this podcast is a love project for me.
Gotcha.
So I do it an hour a day. I'm trying to do it 5 days a week and pull in interesting people in it. But I know this show is never going to make money. However, what it will do is, it shows people what I can do even with my hands tied, because I'm physically doing it, being on the show and running the tech. Yeah. If he can make it look like this and he's on the show, imagine when we get his butt off the show and just let him run tech.
Yes. And honestly, this is just like amazing advertisement.
Yeah.
It's just like amazing, it shows, like you said, it shows people what you can do. And you understand that you can't put a lot into creating this, and time is money. You can't put a lot of time into it because you understand what the return is. So the return could be huge or it could be a little, but it's not, there's no system set up where you can put $1 on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it makes complete sense. I completely understand. I think it's a dope idea.
However, if I can get past 50 episodes, I can actually start getting sponsors.
Oh, wow.
If as long as I can keep the numbers up. So I already have
I got an idea for you, but go ahead.
Oh, no. So I've already got, this is the Facebook Live. Then we do a YouTube channel. And then I also do iTunes. So on iTunes, if you guys are looking to get into podcasting and you're really wondering how money's made out of these things, so on an audio show, for every 1,000 downloads, you can charge marketing companies anywhere from $10 to $16 per click. So every 1,000 clicks, you can get up to $16 as long as you have enough things. So if you get to the point where you're getting 1 million downloads, I mean, that's 100,000 times whatever that thing's going to be. Run 3 sponsors as a mid-roll. Now you're paying all the bills, you're paying for editors, you're paying stuff like that. But there is the initial investment. So each of these microphones are $400. The audio recorder I'm using was $1,000. Each of these cameras was like $2,000, all the cabling, the set design. But it's like I've built this stuff over the last 10 years doing shows for other people. So for me, it doesn't cost much money. But if people want to come in the studio and do their own show, I generally charge them $300 a show. Keep it simple. But again, where are you going to get that much stuff for $300?
You're not. And one thing I do want to say, you have a good understanding of business. And, it's so important to have an understanding of business when you get into your own business or into an industry, because you know how to navigate through it. And one thing that LL Cool J said in the interview that made me say, boom, and I never thought about this. He said, if you look at some of the rappers that are very successful and you check their history, they used to be drug dealers when they was younger. And they understood the basic fundamentals of business. So when they got into the rap game, it was easy for them to navigate. Yeah. So you look at somebody like Jay-Z, like he was, far as we know, well at selling drugs prior to. Yeah. He gets into the industry. It's just, that's why I tell people all the time, man, like, you selling drugs, you could do the same thing legally. Like, if you that good at doing that, hiding, like, imagine what you can do. So I think with your experience and stuff like that, I think you're very capable of taking all of this and operating it into a successful business. And I think that's just very important to look back at your history, your past, and what you have learned and figure out how to apply it to what is going on today, man. I definitely want to commend you on that. That is, I definitely want to commend you. Not too many people can do that.
Now, I've tried indie film sets, man. You've seen me on sets before. It's really not my cup of tea, man. I'm not one of those people who are like artsy fartsy. And if I think someone's being too sensitive, I kind of say things and I kind of get in trouble. So it's better off just keep me on a podcast arena. But you got to know your lane.
Yeah, you definitely got to know your lane. And even for those people that get too sensitive, I mean, maybe they're not built for that industry, you know. Film, man, you got to be straight up. Because 20 years later, that same video is going to be out there. So you just got to be, you got to be straight up with people. Yeah,
especially if you're in a run, gun, fast production, flip and mentality.
Yeah.
You just don't have time for it. You just don't.
It's emotions, man. I don't care what you are doing. I don't care if you're in a relationship. I don't care what type of relationship, business or whatever. You got to understand. You don't have to control your emotions, but you got to know your emotions. You know what I mean? You got to know what they are to prevent yourself from getting in situations you shouldn't be in. And in film, it's a huge thing to where I've seen, where I heard distributors tell me they had a deal on the table for a filmmaker and they wanted to change the title, but the filmmaker was so attached to the film emotionally that they wouldn't change the title, you know? And that's why that phrase, this movie is my baby, I don't believe that's a bunch of, you are like psychologically tricking yourself, to be attached to something. It's just a product. It's just another loaf of bread, and, either you make bread that's healthy, wheat bread, whole wheat, or what, it's just another loaf of bread. And if it's not marketable to them, if it's not marketable to them, then to them it's like a loaf of bread that's short one loaf, or the bag is ripped, but they may think they still can sell it at a discount price. So you have to accept, people's point of view and things in the industry. If not, your feelings are always going to be hurt, because honesty, people being honest is not always nice. I have to be honest with myself about some of my projects, why I did them. And even before I start the film, I have to be honest with the why. If I'm really going to focus on great actors, or is this right here to navigate to get me in a certain position, and what do I have to compensate for that and sacrifice? And yes, I'm going to hear backlash from people about certain things, like what is my goal and where am I going? And I have to prepare my emotions and self for that, because people are going to come at you. I mean, I had people on the phone talking for 45 minutes, just, hey, your next movie, think about me. Like, bro, you just tore me to pieces for 45 minutes.
Honestly, I love that, though. I've done my best learning when people care enough to tear into me. So I used to work, before I started this, I was doing IT. And the accountant that I used to work for, I think she used to model when she was younger. And I would show her all the pictures from the photo shoots. And she'd be like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. That's okay, this sucks. But I remembered that's all these okays. And then I looked at these things and why did they suck? And once I started seeing that, my percentage of this is good started increasing. But if she wasn't honest enough with me to tell me in the before, like, this sucked. Like, me and you've had this conversation. Yeah. I had a conversation with you about pacing back in the day. Like, your pacing has got so much freaking better. Back in the day, I didn't like it. You've talked to me about my lighting before. Like, hey, Jamie, this is okay, but you can do better. Try this other stuff. And people who are honest with you are going to make you grow. It doesn't always feel good, but if they're going to take the time to tell me, I'm going to take the time to listen.
That is so true, man. Just really... the environment you set around yourself is important, because some people, I hear them say, man, I just want positive people around me. And there's a difference from positive people and yes people, you know? So I think instead of having positive people, we just need honest people around us, you know, really set that environment and tone. Because you can't grow without that. You can't grow without being critiqued. I'm not talking about criticism, but critiquing. When you get into criticism, you slide into people hating and you don't know what is what. But when people are actually trying to critique, it's for the better of you. You know, I definitely believe that that is an environment that you need, and you can grow in that environment. But also, like, it's two ways. You have to accept that also.
Yeah.
And we have to be brave enough and have enough love for the other person to be honest. And I had to check myself on some films, earlier films, where I wasn't brave enough to be honest to people that I have built a relationship with, you know? Yeah. And now those projects are out there forever, like out of my control. Like now there's just stuff, it's still being on Roku, found out one is on Stir. Now they just put some on Sling. And I'm like, oh my freaking goodness, I thought it would end years ago, but it's just, so it's important to be honest because that stuff is out there forever.
Yeah, in my job, I'm only as good as my last photo shoot. So if I do a photo shoot and it completely stinks, that word is going to get out so fast, and I might as well throw the title up. Everyone's allowed to have a bad day, but people won't let you forget it too easily. Yeah. But hey, FYI, guys, we are truly live, so if you have any questions for us, we see Ty's in the room. Aren't you working on a project with Ty?
No, we just finished a project with Ty.
No, Respis.
Yeah, finished a project with Ty Rippers. Yeah,
okay.
Kingdom In. Yeah, there's two Ties we know that we're working on projects with. What's funny, both of them are in the project I'm talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, we just finished a project with Ty, and it's supposed to be coming soon, but the company brought two films from us that we filmed like back to back. So I think the other one, which is Love Travel, which Joy James, I believe she's been on your show before.
She has. She's awesome.
She was the lead in that movie. It was called Love Travel was the name. And it was a situation where they wanted to change the title to make it more marketable because the title was funny. The title fit after you watch the movie, but they want a title that fit before you seen the movie, you know, which is like that's
the bait for the hook.
Yeah. That's very, very important. And and I know I'm kind of go off, but what I was talking about, but
no, I told you, man, go down rabbit holes. They love the rabbit holes.
But the title was Love Travel, and the movie is about a lady trying to time travel to get back to an old relationship to fix it, because in the present time, she believed the relationship has ruined who she is. Now she's insecure about herself, so she tries to go back in time to stop it from happening, and that's why it was called Love Travel. But you really didn't get that until after you looked at the movie, you know. So they wanted something beforehand, so they wanted to make it Happy Place, you know, because it was about her finding her happy place. But then because the movie was targeting a female audience, they said it was important to put her happy place in front of it. And that changed, if you can really critically think about how much that changed the film for marketing the film by putting her in front of Happy Place, then you can understand the importance of small things like key art, poster, the title, the trailer, how the trailer lays out the story, the colors of your film, the colors of the poster, like how all this intertwines and attracts a certain group of people. Just from adding her made a huge difference. Yeah. And that's stuff people overlook. Like, trust me, man, I know a guy that took his poster with a cell phone. Like, come on, man. You really, like, don't let up on the poster. Go ahead and spend $1,500 to get the poster done, you know. Go ahead and spend, money, get the pictures taken, get professional pictures. Go ahead and pay a good graphics guy. Like, go ahead and spend that money, because that is the bait. And you can have the best movie ever, but if people are not interested in it, they're not going to check it out, you know. So small details like that are very, very important, and it can make an okay movie sell better than a great movie.
Sure. So, like, I get that. And when you tell somebody you have to spend $1,500 for a cover, they're like, holy crap, this is a lot of money. When I first started doing photography, I bought little clamp lights, and I learned how to use wax paper on them. I tried different type of light bulbs and to see what type of hues and stuff they casted. And then after a while, you just get sick of doing all that crap because it's too hard to MacGyver.
Gotcha.
And you're just going to spend the $700 on a light bulb.
Yeah.
The idea of spending $700 on one light is like oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. But I'll do it now because I see the worth of it. I see how much faster, more efficient, how much more. I don't care about professional looking. Like, I'll use ugly cameras. I don't care. To me, it is a box that captures light. I do care about my lights, though.
Gotcha.
I'm a wee bit of a light fiend.
Got you. But there's no limit on lighting. That's something I had to come to grips with. There's so many lights you can use and need, so many. So I think there's no limit on lighting, but I do believe that learning the fundamentals of the basics of filmmaking and lighting before you go purchase that stuff, because then you understand what you need. Because buying a octagon shaped light versus a rectangle, and the color temperature, all of that makes a huge difference, and it's pointless to buy it if you don't know how to
you gotta
use
make
it.
mistakes.
So I'm not saying go out and buy a bunch of equipment and stuff first. Learn the basics of it, but understand, once you learn the basics, I think you will understand how important it is to get some decent and good equipment. And same thing when you're making your movie, you will learn how important it is once you make a movie and try to sell it, the key art and all those different things. Because some distributors will take all that from you. They will promise you, we give you X amount of money on this advance, but we got to make the trailer, because the trailer you got yada, yada, yada. They take that away. We got to make your key art, so we're going to take this away. By the time it ends, your advance is $10, So it's very important to go ahead and have your system set up where you can do that stuff efficiently. That's why I like with what you do and how you do photo shoots, because it gives flexibility to the filmmaker with the key art,
Yeah.
I know some people, man, that I just can't, it's not worth it to me they take pictures and I get one picture for $250. I'm like, first of all, I got to put it in the program to see even if this photo works, but you give us options, which makes it very important, which makes your job very important to us, because options is everything.
Yeah, usually I end up with at least 100 pictures, if not 200, and for about $100.
Yeah, and with the quality that you give, it just gives so much flexibility to create an interesting poster. And for those that's trying to do their own distribution or sell it themselves, certain companies, there's different type of ratios you have to do with your key art. So the image quality and the resolution is very important, because you have to make all these adjustments and layouts to make it fit. And so you may have to design, I think with one company, it was maybe 16 different posters, because of different ratios and different platforms they're going to put it on. It's there's a bunch of stuff going on. So it's not like you take one picture and it's done. So with what Jamie does, I think it works great, because it gives us that flexibility to work with various companies. And I mean, even with your image quality, you need to know the basics and stuff of that, because I know some people that have great movies, but because of the image quality, they can't go on Fango now.
Yeah.
They can't go on Hulu. They can't, but it's a great story, but it just doesn't work.
So Miss Tricia wants to know, what films do you already have on Hulu?
Well, there's none on there now. The only one I had on there was Beautifully Insecure. And it was like a process they were going through, so I wasn't even able to catch it. They had the trailer and stuff up there, and from what I was told, the way they placed it, it's not like you can just go, and it wasn't showing up on the timeline. It wasn't, you had to go search and find it. So, but that was 2 years ago. Nothing's up there right now.
All right, which ones have you had in Walmart?
Beautifully Insecure was in Walmart. Secure the Bag was in Walmart. What did let go? I think there was a third one. No, just Beautifully Insecure and Secure the Bag. Yeah. Because around the time Secure the Bag came out, that's when they went through the whole process of taking urban films out. And the funny thing about that is, Secure the Bag, the poster I made was a poster about, it represented the spirit of greed. So there wasn't guns or nothing. It was like the guy was drowning in money, and the company, they changed it and put a gun on the poster. And when they put the gun on the poster, there was a big shooting that happened in Walmart, and Walmart was like, from what I was told, this is the reason why they took it out, and the company had to put a whole new set of DVDs in there and take the gun off the poster.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy situation, but that's how I learned that they're focusing on taking urban films out. So Secure the Bag was the last film that I had in Walmart.
All right, so let's go through some comments. So Juliana says she had a small part in Love Travel. She had a great experience being on it and awesome cast. Let's see. Tiffany Jones is in here. So Tiffany is also working on a show with Orlando Jones that I'm working on right now. That's going to be dope. Ty asks, there is so much talent in Wilmington. This question is for you both. Why do you think talent here is basically unseen? And what can someone do to climb that ladder in the industry? I've got my opinions. You got yours?
Yeah, I got mine.
Let's fire away. So let's start with you.
I think it takes way more than talent. Talent is a small part of it, and also you have to develop that talent. I think there's a lot of raw talent, but I don't think there's a lot of developed talent. It's 90% business and 10% talent.
Yeah.
You know, so talent just isn't enough. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was maybe 50-50, but now you got to be marketable. You know, it's sad to say, but just being honest, the look you have and the industry, it's so honest, it's almost sad, you know. It's easier for a heavyset female to play a comedy part. It's just because of, you know what I mean? It's just sad, but that's the truth. And it's easier for, you know, a black male to play a part of a gangster or something like that because just the way the industry portrays things and people. So you really have to find your lane and develop your talent, but understand the business and how you're going to navigate. Everybody's not going to be the Denzel and all of that. Some of these people are going to be a C-list actor, but because they understand the industry, they are selling other products based off their acting brand. Kind of how a rapper puts out an album, maybe only sell 100,000 copies, but he makes another 3 million in selling hats and gloves or something, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, it's about understanding the business and don't get stuck on your talent because the day of, yo, you're so talented and, you know, we're going to give you $10 million and we're going to sign you to this company, I believe that day is gone.
Yeah, I'll take drive over talent any day of the week. So if someone has talent, they usually are lazy. So they're like, I already know, I'm already so good at this thing, I don't have to try hard, I don't have to market myself. Things are just going to naturally happen to me. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in real life. It happens, it just doesn't. It's if you want something, you got to remember, you made big the big guy in your pond, right? Mm-hmm. But let's just say Wilmington. How many people's Wilmington got?
I think it's 200,000.
Let's just say 200,000, right? How many cities are in North Carolina? How many cities are in the United States? How many cities are there in the world? So how many big fish are you going against? Yeah. You have to drive like it's nobody's business. I get here every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I clean up sometimes, and then I get everything ready for the day. I prep my lighting equipment. I make sure everything's working. Come here, turn the cameras on, try to set up appointments. I constantly have to be trying to make this work. It doesn't come easy, and if the second I drop the ball, it's going to fall away. You have to drive, and if you don't drive, you're not going to get anywhere. Talent is just not going to get you there. But if you have drive and talent, you're going to be unstoppable.
Yes. I definitely, I agree with you with that drive. I know people that talent may be, you know, on a scale of 70%, but their drive is like off the scale and they get more work and they thrive more than other people. And because of that, their perspective is different. They see all these little rabbit holes that they can generate income from. Then some people that are just leaning on their talent, they are waiting for a big company to give them this big check. But if you really look at, that's why I tell people, study stats and information and see how things move and people's careers move. And you will see that even some people that are super famous to us really don't make that much money. You know, they make the same amount as somebody, you know, making $50,000, $60,000 that GE is making, you know, on a regular basis. They may have a peak year where they make, you know, $1 million or 200,000, but on the average, you know, they're just around $60,000 a year. So sometimes we have this false reality when we just lean on our talent. But when you have talent, but you lean on your drive and you start driving, you put yourself in situations to see what it really looks like, you know?
You guys have to remember, like UMTV cribs, those were usually Airbnbs.
Yeah, exactly. People don't know that. That was not, those are not their houses. And
the jewelry was leased.
Yeah. think it was the episode with Ja Rule. The police came and some stuff happened. They were having a cookout, and people talked about how that wasn't his house and such and such. And I think he even said that, if I'm correct. But yeah, they said all that stuff was like planned, organizing the food and all, like, it wasn't their crib. And thing about the film industry, man, there's a lot of smoke, man. It's a lot of smoke and sizzle, man, that they sell to you because that's the business. And I even heard on the other side of the Oscars, it just filled with homeless people, but we see the Oscars, the red carpet, and we think the whole area is just luxury and, but that's not the case.
Yeah, it's like Las Vegas. You're on the Strip. It's beautiful. You go one block away, it's nothing but pamphlets and homeless people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Yes.
So it's just, go ahead.
Yeah. Any questions about film industry, being a filmmaker, actor, anything, please drop your questions in here. I apologize, but I'm going to look through as we do this and answer what I can answer.
Yeah, so I think we're actually good on question. I've been trying to keep up with it stuff pretty good. So do you guys like these kind of conversations? Do you want us to go more monodirectional in a conversation, or just kind of keep it free flowing? Because I'm kind of a free flow kind of guy. I like to fly by the seat of my pants. Drive talent, mistake. Well, sounds great. Oh, so if you've got a new filmmaker, right, and all they have is an iPhone, and they've still got $300 and they want to make some good YouTube content. I know personally, I tell people, use your phone. It's okay if you're only doing YouTube, but make sure you have great sound. Because to me, people still watch a movie if it sounds great. Because you can just say you did artsy, and most people are going to let it go. But if it looks beautiful but sounds like garbage, most people aren't going to watch it. Am I wrong?
No, you're right. The thing is, audio is less forgiving than video, because audio is just distracting, and with video in this day and time, because of YouTube, we've become comfortable with low quality images, and also sometimes you can have a low quality image on purpose to tell the story. There's rarely situations where you just want bad audio, like they have to be on the walkie-talkie or whatever, but even then you can still make it clear. And the thing about audio is it's distracting. A screen could go black in a movie, and it's not as distracting as audio being real clear than getting real bad. One thing I do recommend with audio, try to make it as clear as possible, but let me take that back. Try to make it as clear and consistent as possible, because you can have some real clear audio and some okay audio, and it's distracting, and it was better off just having okay audio all the way through. Yeah. So, audio is a big one that people forget about until they get to editing for some reason. That's the one thing I try not to back out on. I filmed a whole movie where I did the audio also. Yeah, and it's hard. Bruh, the audio in that movie is horrible, and, well, to me, and some people like, it wasn't, I mean, it still got sold and picked up, but I had to, because we done spent the money in the film. But audio isn't no joke, man. I've seen people film with gimbals and the microphone is attached to the gimbal, which is the craziest thing ever. No, take audio just as serious as the movie, just as serious as the story, everything, man. Audio is very, very, very important. Yeah, the thing is, like, if you want to work in the film industry, get it out of your head. You don't have to be the cameraman. You don't have to be the director. If you want to work constantly, become dope at sound, become dope at grip, become dope at electrical. Be one of the trades that nobody else really wants to do, but I guarantee you'll work and you'll probably make more than the DP. Yes. I do want to say, everybody wants to be the cameraman. Yeah. Everybody wants to be the daggone cameraman, director. And honestly, to be those things, you really have to have knowledge of every single thing that is going on, because everything has an impact on that. But I tell you, man, because of that, like being a boom mic operator and being good and really narrow down that job, you can be real good and get a lot of work. More work than any camera operator or anybody, because nobody wants that job, because it doesn't get glorified. They don't have an award for the best boom mic operator, So yeah, like the grip, all those little things that make a huge difference. And plus, if you do that and nobody else is, and you really focus and master that, there are certain things that you can critique that by the time somebody else tries to do it, you are way ahead of them. You know, you're taking it to a whole nother level. So definitely, man, don't get caught up in being a camera operator, director. I even tell you something I never told anybody. Like, I don't even want to touch a camera anymore. You know, just so much filming and filming.
You try to make me do it in the film class.
Yeah.
I wasn't having it though. I was like, no, I hold enough cameras, man.
I really want to. I enjoy selling movies more than making them now.
Yeah.
I just have grown into that part where, you know, because you think about it, man, you got this expensive equipment. I have to keep it clean, maintenance, insurance. Something goes wrong, got to figure out how to fix it, you know, and there's just a lot to keep up with and knowing when to use what and how to use what. It has burnt me out, you know. So really, I would love to take other people's movies and just sell them for them, you know. Yeah. So that's kind of the transition I'm going in now. Yeah, it's a lot. Toting that equipment, bro, like that will wear on you, man.
Have you noticed almost everything in here's got wheels on it? all my desks, with the exception of that one in there, has wheels on it. Wow. The carts have wheels with TVs on it. That big thing in the new Batcave, that's on wheels. That whole wall moves. Wow. Oh yeah, I'm lazy.
Wow. Well, that's smart, you know. You're preparing yourself for the future, you know. Man, just really trying to build a strong team, man, and it's hard because, you know, people may have the talent, but they don't have the drive or they don't have the perspective, and I'm trying to build people, not teach people, you know.
Well, and then you get people like me, so it's like, I say I want to be part of a team, but I'm also a control freak. And I'm also like, the thing is, when people get to a certain point and they get really good, they want to have their own company too. And it's hard to find that balance, like where you both are equally yoked and you both have like that. So that's my main problem. Like, and I know it. And so I'm trying to work on me, but I'm a work in progress. I need a little bit more Jesus.
But it's good, you know, so you're on the right side of the fence. But people that don't know that, and that's another big thing too, what you just said. Some people, they say they want to be a part of the team, but they don't. Like, you need to find people that want to be a part of the team, where they believe in the team, they believe in the vision, and they believe in you. And sometimes you find people that just believe in you, but they don't believe in the team or the vision. So they just want to be you. So they're going to look at what you're doing, then try to go copy that. Sure. Then you got some people that believe in the team and don't believe in you. So they're going to look at what your team is doing, the equipment you have, and try to go get the closest thing they can get and go copy that. Then you got some people that just believe in the vision but don't believe in the team and what you're doing. So they're going to do the same thing and just try to go do the vision on their own. Yeah. But you need somebody that believes in the whole thing, because then they're in the right spot, they fit, and it's things become important to them. You know, wearing your shirt with your logo on it is a sense of pride, you know, and they understand when they have that on, they represent what you do. When they're on set, they're just not there to get a check and just waiting for them to tell you what to do. There's always something to do. There's never a reason to not be doing anything unless the person in charge says don't do anything, you know. So with that, it's just so hard to build a team, man. It's just...
Yeah, honestly, if you guys want to know anything about the podcast or film world, you can hit us up. Generally, we're both going to take the time to tell you, as if we have the time. I'll invite people to the studio. Like, you don't have to bullcrap with me. If you just want to know how to do this to start your own podcast, just step in. If I'm not doing a shoot, I'll tell you, because I love talking about this stuff. I like playing with the equipment. And heck, bring in your cameras. I'll look and see what I can do for you. But, you know, it's just... be honest about it. I'm completely cool with it. I want to see everybody grow. There's 800,000 podcasts out there right now. The likelihood of me becoming a Joe Rogan with my skill set, probably not. Producing a show for somebody that has a skill set of Joe Rogan, that's a lot more likely.
Yeah. And I also think it's about knowing your lane, you know, and where you fit in and work at, you know. With me,
your wife's on.
Yeah, my wife's always on. She's always on. Hello, baby. But
that felt a little forced. Hello, baby.
I'm sorry. Don't pay Jamie any attention, but I definitely believe that finding your spot. And that's hard to do, man. Yeah. Even for somebody that's trying to build a team, that person that's trying to find a team, it's hard because, you know, there's this conversation that the person that's looking for a team and the person that's trying to find a team are having, but not saying anything. You know, like they're thinking, what are your intentions? And they're thinking, what are the other person's intentions? You know, and they're like the person that's looking for the team, like where are y'all really going? They're trying to figure you out. Are you a real leader? Are you going in the direction I think I should be going? Is our perspective and pacing of where we're trying to go, is it the same? And some of those things you can say, but when you see it, you can really put your finger on it. Yeah. And sometimes I think we just are a part of stuff to be a part of something. And sometimes we are a part of stuff just because we have the time. Mm-hmm. But you really need to know what your top three are.
Sure.
Like, and if this doesn't fall in your top three, if this doesn't elevate your top three, you need to let it go. I don't do a lot of podcasts. I don't do a lot of interviews unless I know they fall in my top three. And I have seen you. I've seen your work. I know what you're doing. So I know that this falls into my top three. So as soon as you said it, I was like, just say when. You know what I mean?
Literally, I hit him up last night. I was like, I had a guest lined up for today. They ended up canceling on me last minute. I was like, who can I call? I was like, I know Nakia's probably filming. I know he's probably doing something, but let me hit him up because I know it's going to be a good interview. I don't have to prep for it. And he showed up. Yay!
That's what's up. But yeah, I definitely believe finding the right team, the right environment is very, very important. And sometimes you have to move. Sometimes you have to pack up your bags and move. And it's harder for people that a single mother with kids. You know, it's harder for a father with a family and his wife has a stable job. You know, it's just harder to do that. But, you know, I think people need to understand sometimes it's just one thing. You know, you have the money you need, even though you don't feel like it. You have the resources you need, you don't feel like it. And all you need to do is just put the drive in, you know?
A winner always sees what they need to get to the next level. Yeah. I constantly am like, boy, if I only had this and I only had that. But I force myself to look back and like, okay, Jamie, chill out. You actually have a production studio. It may only be 1,500 square feet. It may only be this level of cameras. It may only be this. But I can produce content. I don't have to get so stuck on buying this and this. And yes, I'm not Netflix compatible. But on specs, I'm pretty damn close. And if I can do a good enough job, I may not be Netflix worthy, but I could be another Distributors worthy. And then if I really do want to do that, I can always just rent a camera. I don't have to buy it.
Yeah. And so I just want to encourage anybody that, you know, man, like you have all that you need. God even says that, like, you have all that you need. You just got to execute. That's all you really need to do. And as you grow, you will see things that you can add to what you have going on. So if you want to make a movie and you got a cell phone, if you can't make a movie with your cell phone, you really need to just stop and find something else to do. Because that's all you need. And yeah, you want to be on Netflix. Yeah, you know, you want to be, you know, in Walmart.
But your first movie's not going to be on Netflix. Yeah, you have to make mistakes.
Yeah, that's not even a reality. That's wishful thinking. And if you're not willing to make a movie with your cell phone, then you're not willing to make a movie. You know, just use what you have and make the best of it. And I promise you will learn more doing it with a cell phone than you will renting this big camera, you know, and
that you don't know how to use. Yeah. You don't have the lenses, the batteries, or the computer that can even handle the files.
Exactly. And that's the thing that people miss. The more you get, I don't want to say expensive, but the more higher quality, not just in image quality, but just the higher quality of the camera equipment you use. Most of these things cost that much because they give you options, you know. So higher dynamic range, that's just more options, you know what I mean? When you get things like an Airy and all this with a higher resolution, that's really just more options. And even when you get into things like DaVinci software, it just gives you more options. When you have more options, then there's more choices, then the more impact one thing can have on another thing, so it takes more knowledge. But these cheaper cameras, like a Canon T3i or whatever, you usually only can get one good image, you know. Bright light, whatever, like, you know, like it's probably not a low light camera, but you know, that's all you need to focus on. But when you get with these higher end cameras, there's so many options and things, and one clip is going to look totally different from the next because you have not learned the basics of using it and the basics of filmmaking. And when you have a lot of options like that, moving a light 3 feet is going to make a big difference in your shot. So, but when you have these cannons and stuff like that, the dynamic range is so low. It's, you know what I mean? Nothing really changes. You just have this, either it's real bright or it's real low. So don't get caught up in these high-end cameras until you learn the basics of filmmaking, even with acting. You know, you want to get on these big movie sets, but if you can't perform at the highest capacity on a student film project, then forget about trying to perform at the highest capacity on a Lion Gates film. You know, those same principles and fundamentals that you need to perform on Joe Blow's student project for his class, you're going to need those same things to perform high on Lionsgate Universal Productions.
Yeah. All right, so you got a question. It says, question for Nakia. Do you have a dream film that you would want to make? If so, what is it?
This is going to sound crazy.
We've had a lot of crazy on this show. It's going to fit in just fine.
I do have a dream film, and it really has nothing to do with nothing. And I'm wondering if people will get
Like an episode of Seinfeld?
No, it's a movie that it's called The Diary of a Mad Mexican Filmmaker. And it's these Mexican females, and they go through this crazy journey of trying to make a movie and stuff, and they end up just being terrible. But they end up sending it off, and somebody else sends it off in the family, and they end up getting a deal from it. Okay. But it's this crazy journey. Like, one of the friends, she wants to green screen everything. Like, everything is green screen. They green screen a whole wedding because they booked two things at the same time, you know. But that's a dream movie I want to make. But the budget is kind of high, and I don't think it is. I'm connected to the right company that it will work for right now.
Have you thought about going with a Star Wars approach on that?
Nah, you know what? I'm not a Star Wars fan, man. I can't.
No.
Can't do it.
The second side of the Star Wars. So when they made the first Star Wars, right? And it's in the cutting room. The first cut sucked. Nobody liked it. George Lucas's wife went back and recut the movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So like basically, they're doing the movie, right? They shot the movie. They're editing the movie. They show the movie to friends. People hate it. Somebody takes that same footage, recuts it, and then sends it off and surprises them.
Wow. I did not know that. That's interesting. I got to look that up. I like stories like that because we always think it's the same process, boom, 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 but you never know, you know what I mean, how these things come together. And there's always something to learn in that stuff, you know. Yeah. That's interesting to look at. But I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I'm not a Star Wars fan at all, man. I didn't mean
actually the Star Wars. I meant just for that part of it, actually added that into the movie where it gets recut and then sent off.
Okay, yeah, that would be
as
funny
an ending,
too. Yeah, like he has a younger brother that's like 7 that wants to be with them, but they keep pushing him off.
Exactly.
You know, and they give up on the film, but he takes it and cuts it and sends it to Sundance. Then they get this big deal. That would be funny. Yeah. I would like that. That would be a good ending to the movie. There's even a part where the camera falls like in the ground and it's like a hole, like a snake hole or a mole hole or whatever, and it gets this crazy underground footage. You know what I mean? And they put that in the movie too. People are like, oh, how you got that footage? You know, but
nothing but Bob Ross happy mistakes.
Yeah, but that's my dream movie, and I know it ain't saving the world or nothing like that. But that's funny. That's my dream movie to make.
But I mean, that's kind of how everyone does kind of accidental filmmaking. Sometimes you get the best shots by not trying. It just happens.
Yeah, that is true. Like, you know, really just testing things out, trying different things, not trying to be perfect, just trying to be creative. You learn a lot and come up with a lot of interesting stuff. You know.
Yeah, if you want little lines across your screen, just put a rubber band in front of your lens.
Yeah, you know, rubber band. If you want flares, get a fishing string and tape it across it. You can get flares. There's a lot of those things like that you can do, and mistakes happen. I got a music video I just did. The guy named is CY. The music video is called Steady, and in the music video, there's these 3 little flares of lights that come across the screen, and it's just a small light I had. And I told the guy to stand beside me and just close to the lens, just do like this every few seconds, and it creates this amazing flare. So just trying things out, you know, and being creative. that was probably like my happiest point in filmmaking, where I didn't have to worry about marketing, didn't have to worry about distributor, didn't have to worry about, what happens before people buy this and what stores is going to take it if the color is right. When I can just do it because I wanted to do it was the happiest point. But I'm just so deep in it now, it's a business. It just is what it is, It's a business.
Well, Nakia, is there anything else you want to say? Other than that, I think we've had a pretty good, awesome interview.
Yeah, we did.
It went faster than you thought it would, didn't it?
It did. Oh, we just answered that one. Good morning, everyone. I do want to say, before I get up out of here, this is it, man. Like, this is it. Tomorrow, you cannot relive it. Right now, this time, you cannot relive it. Everywhere you go, when you go, you need to have a pen and paper, taking notes. You are accountable for yourself. One regret that I have is, as a kid, when it was time to go to school the next morning, I would go to bed early to get to school the next morning. On Saturday morning, if I wasn't playing sports, I would sleep all day, and I wasn't holding myself accountable. But that same effort I give to prepare for school, to prepare to play basketball or football, I need to give that same effort for myself on a regular day. And those things, by doing that, I put school and sports above my own life in a sense, And I think, like, I have shooken that off, but even with my kids, it's a fight to try to get them to understand, okay, yeah, we got to get up early for school. We got to go to bed early for school, for sports, whatever. We got to get prepared early. But what are you going to do for yourself? You got this whole day to yourself. Are you going to get up early for yourself to prepare for your life, to make your life? And God created you and made you accountable for your life, your soul, your spirit, the impact you have on earth. And so that level of accountability is missing in the Black community. I know for sure it's probably missing in other ones, but I can say personally, it is missing in the Black community. And we really need to be accountable for ourselves daily. We just can't get up when we want to get up. Just can't go to bed when we want to go to bed. We just can't watch it because they said it's PG-13 and you 14. No. Is it PG-13 to you? Is it healthy for your kids to look at? Is it healthy for you to look at? Your phone. Just because that video is on your phone, do you need to watch that? Are you learning another language? Are you learning anything? Because you should, because your phone gives you that option. We shouldn't just use our phone for porn and fight videos. Like, there's accountability for ourselves that is missing, and it's sad when I watch people and children that know more about stuff that add no value to their life than their actual life. They know who Jay-Z is before they know who they are, And it's just sad to see that, because I've been that person. I've been down that road, and there's nothing there. So if I could say anything, the level of accountability for yourself, regardless of what is going on in the world, in your life, there's no way to have equality until you're accountable for yourself. There's no way to find success, because success starts with accountability, because that's where you get discipline, responsibility, and that drive comes from being accountable, knowing that it's up to you. So just being accountable, man, accountable for the life that God has given you, down from the deepest part to the highest part, is just the last thing I would say to everybody.
All right, Nakia, and how can people find you?
Just go to ilovemyvideo.com. There's a link you can click and get in our email list, or just type in Nakia, Nakia Hamilton, Hamilton, on Google or Facebook, Instagram, and you'll find me there. But I do want to say one thing. Do not send me your phone number, ask me to call you. I will not call you. It's amazing. I know you probably get it often too. I don't know what people think, but I will not.
I prefer calls.
No, if I don't, no, because my time is very important, and I cannot, if I make one of those calls and I don't know the person, I have to make all of them. And I just feel like it's so disrespectful for me to spend that much time doing that when I have a wife and kids and stuff like that. So if you have a question, text me the question, send it in Messenger. Don't say, what's up? Hey, give me a call. I got to ask you something. If I know you, it's different. But these people I never met in my freaking life, sending me their number, telling me to call them all the time. And then they feel some type of way because I don't respond back. And I can't. I just don't have the time.
I'm reading a comment for you.
Nakia, I appreciate you and your input. I still can't move.
Well, making a movie in this time is right now hard, anyways, with the corona, 6 feet distance, and everything else. I guess I just don't know the subject matter of the movie, so I can't tell you.
Oh, yeah, and I know the movie that she's talking about. Yeah, the thing is, and not to offend any filmmakers or anything like that, but it takes a certain level of experience to understand how to make certain movies in this time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and believe it or not, there's what I've learned. What's funny this last week, there's a privileged way of thinking, just not in racism, but in business.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some people that you give them $3 million, they can make a great movie. If you give them 30,000, they are freaking clueless.
Yeah.
And the ideas, excuse me, the ideas and thoughts they have are all $3 million thoughts. You know what I mean? Because they just been in that realm so much. And some of these people have been in the industry for 25 years, and they really don't get. They can't even fathom like making a movie for $30,000 or $40,000. And so sometimes we look at those people trying to get information how to make a movie, and they're just too far up there, you know? So I'm not saying people that you have to have a certain perspective and knowledge to make a movie in this time. It doesn't mean you have to be in the industry for 25 years. You have to have an experience of making movies with 10 people or less.
Doing more with less.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's hard to find those people when you don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great movie to make in this time, but finding the right team, from what I see now, could be hard to do. Because with the whole corona, there's a lot of regulations, papers that got to be signed. A lot of things have changed. Certain locations you can't use.
And movie theaters are going to be gone soon.
Yeah, movie theaters were already gone, man. It was already done. If you notice, only blockbusters, were in there. Independent films didn't really make any money in there. It was more of a way to market the movie. Then once
It was that animated movie. Once they dropped that, and
Trolls.
they saw, Trolls
yeah,
2.
it was like there was a one before that too. I think the blind people, or it was something anyway, but that blew up. Then the Trolls hit and blew up. It was like it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Like there's no turning back, And now they got a theater design where there's 2 chairs, 6 feet away there's one, 2 6 feet away there's another.
Hold on a second, guys. I'm letting Nakia talk. I got to knock on the door.
So they got theaters where there's probably a third of the seating now. That means tickets are going to go up. And grouping is going to be different because the groups are in 2s and 1s. So trying to take a movie and take it to the theater and stuff is a whole nother thing. Drive-through is bumping right now because of that, but they're still trying to figure out how that works with pay and with the new technology with our phones and things like that, where you can listen to the drive-through movie through your phone. You don't have to listen it through your radio. So, making that movie right now is great. I think the message in that movie, and it's a faith-based movie, the message in that movie is great for right now. Like, there's never a time that's not great. But I think you got to get a good writer, and well, not a good writer, a smart writer that can have that oomph in that movie, and still make it interesting at a low cost and a high production value. I know that sounds like a lot. Well, it is.
No, but it can definitely be done. You just have to think differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all perspective. Like, if you grew up like I didn't have a lot of stuff, but what I did have, I could use 3 or 4 different ways. So you just have to think outside the box. If you want to convey this one thing, maybe you don't show something. Remember Jaws? The scariest part of Jaws is not seeing the damn shark.
Yeah. That is true. The perspective of the whole thing, that is very true. But you almost have to train yourself, to think like that,
It's not easy. You got to do problem solving. But what in life is worth doing without thinking about it? I can't think of one thing.
Yeah, that is true. You definitely have to have that person that can really direct that movie and has a passion for it. That's something that people miss, because when it's just for glamour and glory, there's never true critical thinking. There's never that sacrifice to make this thing right. It's just getting it done and getting the check. But I believe you're absolutely right. Just changing the perspective of it and making it a low cost with a high production value. But you definitely have to find the people that can do that and get the resources to do it.
So the one thing I heard you say is that, and other than that, we'll end the interview on this because I know you got stuff you got to get done. And I got people
like, man.
Yeah, I looked at Seth. I was like, Seth. In my head, I was like, well, we're shooting today. Did I forget about the second part of the shoot? I was like, I thought that was next week. Every part of my thing was like, oh crap, I made a mistake. I double booked. Oh no, danger, Will Robinson. But no, so you said that you want to build a team.
Yeah.
What parts do you feel that you still need for your team?
Every part. Every part. I want to completely come hands off from producing projects and oversee projects. And I'm not 100% sure of what the team looks like because this week we're going into a new transition of the business. Mm-hmm. So I'm not 100% sure what certain elements, because we just found out one element we thought we really needed, we don't, because of how a certain business model is set up. So probably the biggest thing is a focus group. Mm-hmm. A consistent focus group, not various, but a consistent focus group. A crew, just a whole nother crew that I don't have to touch anything, but they have to understand how to make a high production value product at a low cost. Yeah. Because there's some people, man, you give them $30,000, they're gonna come back with 10-minute video, you know, but you need that person, give them 30, they come back with 80-minute movie. You know what I'm saying? So you need another Jamie workshop. Because you give me 30,000, I'll build you some stuff. But that's kind of, you need people that understand that. I mean, I need people that can make a movie for $5,000. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it varies. To answer your question, I'm not sure of every detail of the team. Some stuff, as I go along, I start to notice, and I bring people in and see how they adapt to what's going on. So, dude, real talk. I heard $30,000. You know, I had most of it spent already. I was like, I buy this, and this. It's gonna be on. But hey, you got stuff you gotta do, Nakia. I really appreciate you coming on today. We got Seth in here. He's gonna talk to you, I guess. And then other than that, guys, I love you. I'll see you soon. I'm gonna go kill the feed, and we'll be on YouTube soon. All right, appreciate it, man. Be blessed.